What's your favorite scary movie?
From Pop Culture with Pat, here with Brandon and Jess talking about their new film, Night of the Reaper. Great to meet you guys, and thank you so much for your time today.
Nice to meet you. I
Oh,
love your background.
yeah, good
Thank you. I
job.
appreciate it. We're going to start things off, Brandon, just as far as how did Night of the Reaper come about for you?
It goes back to when I was young and I was at a birthday party and we watched When a Stranger Calls, and it was just a bunch of us kids packed in the dark room, eating pizza, drinking soda, and it was just that first 20 minutes of the movie is just like this iconic, horrifying babysitter thing. And like I babysat growing up, and so it's always been sort of part of me. And when I got into making movies and I'm kind of tackling these different subgenres of horror. I always wanted to do a babysitter one to think back at that time, like, if I could have a bunch of kids watching my movie in a dark room on a birthday party, eating pizza and stuff, like that would be the most amazing thing. And so it was probably 2020 about my brother and I were talking about different ideas, and I brought up the babysitter thing, and we started spitballing all these things. And it was just like a matter of how do we do something familiar but different. And so it kind of started with that, and then the cold open was written by my brother, and he just sort of took a stab at it, and he totally nailed it. And we just took this thing and we just sort of kept rolling with it. We found ourselves with Night of the Reaper.
Yeah, it's perfect for the time of the year. And for you, Jess, what was it about the character and the script that really drew you to the project initially?
Um, I am late to the horror game as a fan, but I am now. So I actually had been itching to do something just like straight horror. And of course, Final Girl was kind of the goal. But because of the way that I look, I am typically typecast as the victim, as, the one that dies, whatever. And so when I read this, I was kind of expecting that until something happened. And that was kind of what made me message my agent and be like, oh yeah, we have to go for this. And then yeah, I auditioned and what I really liked was Brandon talked about wanting me to do just like the normal scenes as opposed to like the screaming and stuff because he thinks it's harder. And because I think there was a challenge in playing the balance between the Deena that you think you know and the Deena that you learn to know. I gave some stuff away there.
And Brandon, for you, when did you know that Jess was going to be your final girl in film?
We did a casting process, and it's tough. You get like 70, we had 70 or so Deenas read for us, and there's some that they didn't fit it immediately, but then you've got this list of 10 or 15, and you kind of keep going back to one of the scenes that we did was the walkie-talkie scene, and like Jess has these eyes that are just like the window to her soul, and that's cheesy, but it's true. She's just like it's that's such a big thing in horror, like you're looking whenever you watch a movie, you're always watching the eyes. And so when you have these big, beautiful eyes that are just terrified, it was wild. Like even just in this kind of low quality audition tape, it was just so it just captures you. And so there was actually a short period because like you don't, you have to put people together, and you're kind of okay. Well, this person can be Emily, this person can be Deena, this person, but whatever. You're kind of doing that, and there was a short time where I was like, well, Jess looks so young, maybe she can be Emily too, and then we can cast someone else. But it just kept going in the direction of her just doing it because she just has this look like she looks like she could be just plucked from the 80s and dropped in here, and part of that is the brunette and the eyes and everything. It just felt right. And this was my sixth film that I'd shot, and so you kind of trust your instincts, and you just go when it hits and it clicks. It's best not to ignore that because you're at a certain point you've kind of figured out what's going to work for you, and Jess was amazing.
And yeah, for you, Jess, what was the process for you kind of becoming this character? And was there any other final girls that you ended up referencing to inspire your character?
I mean, yeah, Brandon gave me kind of like a list of films that inspired this one. When a Stranger Calls, House of the Devil, even Scream a little bit. Um,
Yeah.
and I had hopped on the slasher train pretty hardcore, so I knew kind of the final girl trope, and it was really fun when we were filming because I knew what it was going to look like when we were creating that suspense, and walking toward the door that you shouldn't walk toward. It was really cool, but I had a moment that I was like, "Whoa, I'm in a horror movie right now," and I'm like creating that suspense that I love to watch as a viewer. Um, but yeah, I think I did the audition, and then we had a chat, and I had heard nothing but amazing things about Brandon, so I had high expectations, which he surpassed. We had a great time, and yeah, and then it was just like organizing kind of the journey that Deena goes on because we don't film in order, so making sure we know
Hmm.
exactly where we're at a given time.
I love that you mentioned Scream too, because watching the movie, I definitely got some Cindy Prescott vibes in there for sure. So I'm so glad to hear you say that. You nailed it there for sure, Jess. And with this movie, I mean, it's the coming out at the perfect time, spooky season being here. A lot of people are going to be in the Halloween spirit. So I wanted to ask this questions for both of you guys. Just what are some must-watch movies that you guys have each year come time Halloween, or maybe even some like traditions that you always have to do every single Halloween?
Trick or Treat's like my number one horror movie for Halloween. It's just like the ultimate vibiest Halloween movie. We just did a Summerween thing. My wife's an insane Halloween person. Like she's all about it. And so we got the kids on the patio, put the TV out there, and we watched Hubie Halloween, which is a great vibey movie. It's not like the best movie in the world, but the vibes are immaculate, like shooting in Salem.
I was
And
an
then we
extra in
all
that.
Oh, really? I mean,
Yeah.
are you over in the east? Are you like in Salem area?
Yeah, I'm right around there. Yep.
Okay, cool. Yeah, amazing. It's just like a beautiful film. And then we also watched The Great Halloween Tree, which is a classic. It's just like we started with that one, and that's again, it's just like I watched that all the time when I was a kid. So having that as a something vibey to watch is I'm all about vibes, and that's a good one.
What about for you, Jess?
Well, now I'm gonna have to check out Trick or Treat. Um,
Hmm.
for me personally, I love just like cozy. So, Hocus Pocus, Halloween Town, but I love a slasher. So honestly, like all of the Halloween movies, all of the Scream movies, we my fiance and I had like a whole night of watching Saw, all of them. Um, so yeah, anything that I can watch all night long or something really cozy. And then in terms of traditions, I every single Halloween, unless I'm not in town, uh, go to my dad's house because he's a tech teacher, and so all of his students have to kind of make animatronics move every year as a project, and then he takes them
That's super
home for
cool.
Halloween and goes full out, and I'm always there just like watching the whole street be wowed.
As someone who decorates for Halloween goes all out, I really appreciate that. And just to wrap things up for you guys, last question. What were both of you most excited to see kind of translate from the script to the screen for this film?
That's a good question. I'm gonna let you go first, Jess. I gotta think.
Okay. I mean the twist, can I say that? The twist. I didn't know how it was going to go because reading it is one thing and not seeing it coming at all until it happened. I was like, how is this going to be ironed out perfectly? And I know that it took Brandon a minute to get it perfect, and now it's perfect.
Yeah, I love the twist. I wasn't expecting that in the movie. I'll say that.
Yeah.
Cool. I mean, for me, it was just, I mean, the scariest thing is capturing the 80s. When you're an indie film, everything is location dependent. You can't build sets. You can't, you're like, there's a reason this movie is just, takes place in the 80s. There's no specific year because, like, music, all these things, like, if you're actually doing, if I was like, it has to take place in 1985, then you have to make sure every car on screen, everything is pre that, and it becomes impossible. If you have money, great. But so like I consider it more like a Goldberg's thing, like where it's like it sometime in the 80s. It's just vaguely 80s and it just is rather than being specific, it's just capturing a time and a place. But just doing that because I've never done it before, like, dressing up bedrooms, doing all the things like it's very scary and like you're working with production design team and you're trying to just tell them like look at these movies from the 80s we need like I had a huge thing about wallpaper so The house that we start in, like the one where she's babysitting the kids, the bedroom that we're in with the boys one, like that room didn't have wallpaper. It was just white walls, and I was like, guys, it needs wallpaper. They're like, it's gonna cost like $2,500. I was like, don't care. If it doesn't have wallpaper, we're not shooting in that room. And sometimes you have to be a crazy person like that because it is super important. Like that wallpaper looks amazing, and it just gives it that sense of place that if it was just a white wall, it wouldn't have had. And so. Um, it's one of those films that I really had to fight for a lot of things, and I'm happy I did because if I didn't, then it wouldn't have looked as good. Like the house that the whole movie takes place in that Dean is babysitting at, that was a house that was not available to film in anymore. Like no one could get it anymore. It was shot in a show Under the Banner of Heaven, a Hulu show with like Andrew Garfield and stuff. They used that prominently, but it hadn't really been used since. And so when we found that, that was like the 80s house, and we weren't supposed to be able to get it, but I was just like fighting for it, and our location guy, he was able to make the connection, and he made it work. But yeah, just making something that feels 80s was super scary going in, and so I'm really happy with how it turned out.
Yeah, no, you guys should be. It came out amazing. It's definitely, like I said, it's perfect for coming out at this time of season, so I can't wait for others to watch it. Congratulations on the film, and it was great talking to both of you guys today.
Thank
Thanks,
you
Pat.
so
Appreciate
much.
it.